Hare Krishna. Welcome, dear devotees, guests, to Shri Shri Radha Radhanath Temple on this very auspicious day of Shri Ram Naumi. We're very happy to have all of you here. The devotees that are sitting on the bench, can we please come to the chairs that are provided? It'll be nice if you have some close association on this wonderful day of Shri Ram Naumi. Please come forward. Thank you so much. Devotees, on this very special day, we have His Holiness Bhakti Caitanya Swami, who will be inspiring us on Sri Ram Naumi, on the glories of Lord Ramachandra, Mother Sita, Lakshmana, Shatrughan, and Bharat, and also Hanuman. And over the past few days, Maharaj has been giving different talks on the different days and the different devotees, and we've been inspired by it. And we'd like to now hand over to His Holiness Bhakti Caitanya Swami. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Rama. Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ke. Shri Ram Naumi Mahotsava Ke. Yes, so devotees and friends, what an important and wonderful day, the anniversary of the appearance within this world of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Ramachandra. Yes, he's one of the most important forms of the Supreme Lord who appears within this material world. And he has a particular mood and a particular way of conducting himself. And that is, well, the technical term is Maryada Purushottama. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Maryada Purushottama. Purushottama means the Supreme Person. Purusha, Uttama, the Supreme Person. And Maryada means that in terms of his character and the way he conducts himself, the particular feature is that he's very moral and just and very upstanding, maintainer of principles. Krishna is known as Leela Purushottama, the Supreme Person, who's particularly noted for his pastimes, his Leelas. And sometimes he, at least apparently, may not so much maintain all the moral standards of doing this and not doing that. For example, one example at least you may know, that Lord Krishna, during the battle of Kurukshetra, that Lord Krishna, he had taken a vow. It's a little bit of a long story, but basically he took a vow not to fight. In fact, there was an arrangement, Lord Krishna said, or he gave the choice that to whoever saw him first the next morning, it was either Duryodhana or Yudhishthira. Duryodhana is sort of the classic bad person, villain, and Yudhishthira, of course, is great, devotee and extremely pious person. So Lord Krishna said, whoever sees me first in the morning, whoever I see first can choose. Either they'll have me on their side, but I will not fight, or they can have my whole army, means the army of Dwaraka, kingdom, and they will fight. So Duryodhana was thinking, gosh, then it would just make sense. I hope he sees me first, because obviously I'll choose his army, and, who will fight, and there's thousands of them, rather than just him, and he's not going to fight. So maybe you know the story that Krishna woke up the next morning and Yudhisthira and Duryodhana were there, and Krishna was lying on his back. It's a particular way of sleeping, actually. You sleep on your back. And Duryodhana was right next to Krishna's head, thinking, I'm so close, you'll see me first. But Duryodhana, the great devotee, was right at the other end of the bed by Lord Krishna's feet. And Krishna, lying on his back, woke up, lifted his head up, looked straight down his body, and saw Yudhisthira first. And Duryodhana, the bad guy, so to speak, he was very upset. Oh no, Yudhisthira's getting the choice, and he's going to choose the army, of course. And I'm going to be stuck with Krishna, who's not going to fight. But perhaps you can take a guess, if you don't know the story so well. What choice did Yudhisthira make? He chose, I will take you, Krishna, even if you don't fight. And Duryodhana thought, he's mad. He's mad. It all worked out the way I wanted anyway. But, so Krishna had vowed, you could say, he wouldn't fight. But then when Arjuna, Krishna's very close friend and cousin, was trying to fight with the Bhishma, great warrior, and looked like he was going to be killed, then Krishna intervened. Krishna picked up the wheel of a chariot, some broken chariot in the middle of the battle, and came running towards Bhishma to attack him and defend Arjuna, because Arjuna's his devotee. So for his devotees, sometimes Krishna upholds, or rather breaks. He does something which is kind of immoral, like breaking a promise and various other things. But Lord Rama, he would never do that. He would never do that. Always uphold his word. Come what may. Whatever the outcome might be, doesn't matter. He would uphold his word and his moral standards and so on like that. Yes, that's Maryada. Maryada means the standards, personal standards. Yes, Purushottama, the Supreme Lord, who makes a particular point of upholding those standards, even if it's to his detriment. Doesn't really matter. So I am going to read, devotees and friends, a little sequence of verses. This, of course, today and or yesterday. It's nice. We have 2 days. 1 in 2 or 2 in 1 or whatever. Just makes everything doubly nice. So it's the anniversary of his appearance, or, in material terms, birth. But the Supreme Lord does not take birth, as we all here have taken birth. No, he appears independent of the usual material circumstances required for someone to make their appearance in the particular lifetime. So, but what I'm going to focus on, I just thought, anyway, why not? We're celebrating Lord Ram. I am going to read a few verses about Lord Ram fighting with Ravana, the final battle. And of course Ravana was killed, and then just right at the end, last couple of verses, is the reaction of Ravana's main wife, Mandodari. His main wife, he had many. Yes, okay, so, first of all though, just please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So I'm going to read a few verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, 9th canto, chapter 10, which is titled The Pastimes of the Supreme Lord Ramachandra. Of course, Lord Ram's pastimes are particularly summarized, recited, presented in Ramayana, which is great. 25,000 verses or so. That's Valmiki Ramayana. The problem is, though, that there are different, in certain respects, certain particular things that happen, not everything, but just a number of things, important things which happen. There are different versions of what happened in different versions of Valmiki Ramayana. Yes, there are different versions of Valmiki Ramayana, unfortunately. So it's difficult to say what is, just guaranteed to be authentic. So generally we focus on Srimad Bhagavatam because Srimad Bhagavatam is known to be completely authentic. There are just a handful of verses in Srimad Bhagavatam which have a word which is different from another version of Srimad Bhagavatam, but not like whole events being described quite differently. It's just like a word here and a word there. Otherwise, Srimad Bhagavatam is, out of all the Vedic literatures, it is the best preserved the best preserved. Unfortunately, due to historical circumstances, just like in North India, there are no old temples because they all got destroyed due to certain, shall we say, historical circumstances. So also a number of the Vedic literatures didn't exactly get destroyed, but got interfered with. Yeah. But Srimad Bhagavatam was saved. And therefore, when it comes to describing the glories of Lord Ramachandra, we prefer to focus on the versions we find in Srimad Bhagavatam. And this is the main part. 9th Canto, Chapter 10, the pastimes of the Supreme Lord Ramachandra. So I will begin with the verse 15. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschitya Deshatarane Vanchakalpatrubhyas Chakripas Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Right. So 9th Canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Chapter 10, verse 15. I'll read the Sanskrit just to this verse, and then I'll read the translations of these other verses. Kamam prayahi jahi vishravaso meham trailokya ravanam avapnuhi vira patnim badnihi setum ihate yashaso vitatye gayanti dig vijayino yamupetya bhupa. Translation. This is actually Varuna speaking, who is the presiding deity and controller of the oceans. Of the oceans. And he is speaking to Lord Ram, and Lord Ram is, I don't know how many of you have been to Rameshwaram, that big temple of Lord Shiva. It is on an island about 1 or 2 kilometers, something like that. Shri Radharanath, Shri Giri Govardhan, Shri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ki Jai. If you've been there, that big temple, that's really a big temple indeed. That's really a big temple, Rameshwaram, and very ancient, going back thousands of years. So Lord Ram was on that island with his army, vast army, and they wanted to cross to Lanka to attack Ravana and rescue Mother Sita and just right the wrongs. Ravana had done so many wrongs. It was just terrible, terrible. So right those wrongs, including his kidnapping of Mother Sita. So Lord Ram, the idea was to cross the ocean, from the mainland of India, Tamil Nadu, across to the island where the Rameshwaram temple is. It's just a kilometer or 2 or something, I forget. I've been over there a few times. There's railway lines going across, so you can take the train right across. And it's quite a big island. It's not a small island. But from there to Lanka, that's another thing. That is definitely a long way. So they had to cross. So they were waiting on the shores of the ocean, on the Lanka side, you could say, of the island. And then, at least according to the description here, this Varuna, the presiding deity of the oceans, he approached Lord Ram. Well, actually, Lord Ram, what happened a couple of verses before this one, I just read the Sanskrit of. Lord Ram, he was getting, his anger. He was already very angry, his wife having been kidnapped so brutally. So he was looking at the ocean, and you could say fire, a super intense form of fire, was coming from his eyes and heating the whole ocean. And the aquatics, the fish and so on, and the whatever, crabs and whales and all those beings who live in the ocean, they were becoming very disturbed indeed. And Varuna is the master of all of them and the protector of all of them. So he approached Lord Ram that we have to settle this, and please, you've got to stop this. So this is what, that verse I just read, the Sanskrit, that's Varuna speaking to Lord Ram. And this is what he says. My Lord, you may use my water as you like. Indeed, you may cross it and go to the abode of Ravana, who is the great source of disturbance and crying for the three worlds. He is the son of Vishrava, but is condemned like urine. Please go, kill him, and thus regain your wife, Sita Devi. O great hero, although my water presents no impediment to your going to Lanka, please construct a bridge over it to spread your transcendental fame. Upon seeing this wonderfully uncommon deed of your lordship, all the great heroes and kings in the future will glorify you. So just one initial interesting little point, that Ravana is described here as the son of Vishrava. Vishrava was a Brahmin. And back in those days, it really mattered. It really mattered. If someone was a Brahmin, it was a very significant thing. It meant they were definitely a saintly person and a great intellectual and great priestly person. Nowadays you get, we won't talk about it too much, but I think you know as well as me, people who are born in families which, going back through history, they were Brahmin families, but now they're not. Now they're not. I remember in Vrindavan in India, there's one taxi driver who I've known on and off a bit, but I've known him for a good 20 years. And his name is Panditji, because he is born in such a family, but he's a taxi driver. Yes. And he has a thread, one of the Brahmin threads. I asked him, what's your name? Aapka naam kya hai? And he said, Mera naam Panditji hai. And, I won't get too much into my broken Hindi, but then Brahman hung, and he pulled out his thread. It was the color of, it was darker than the carpet, put it that way, the rug here, hadn't been replaced for many long years. So he drove us, first of all, to, what's the name of the place, of Madan Mohan? Karoli. He drove us there. We went at darshan of Madan Mohan. Then off we went, and we had to go overland. It was a little tricky, cutting across, not just sort of straight back out to the main road, but cutting across to a shortcut. So we came to a crossroads. We were on this road. There was one road going on an angle to the right and another road on an angle to the left, not like a real crossroads, but just on angles. And there were signs there, or there was a sign pointing both ways with names in Hindi only of the towns. And we wanted to go to Gangapur. So I looked at, I'm sitting next to Panditji, I'm looking at the sign, and, I can read Hindi, and I saw, oh yeah, Gangapur is that way. And Panditji staring at the sign. And I said, Panditji, dekhiye, ye rasta hai. To the right. But he looked at me like, who are you, a foreigner, telling me something? But eventually, after about half a minute of him staring at the sign, I understood he couldn't read. He was illiterate. So he hopped out. There was some gentleman walking past. He hopped out and asked him, which is the road to Gangapur? And the fellow was not illiterate, so he pointed the right way. But this is Panditji. Anyway, it's a bridge bussy, so what can you say? But yeah, all these things have become deteriorated, even drastically deteriorated. Sure. So Ravana was the son of Vishrava, and he was a Brahmin, and not just like a typical good Brahmin, but big Brahmin, famous Brahmin. But still his son was Ravana, who was a demon, just a terrible, terrible, ghastly, shocking person. Yes. So anyway, a person's birth is not so important. What really is important is what sort of person the person is. Yeah. So anyway, Lord Ram has said, or Varuna said to Lord Ram, that this Ravana, he's the son of Vishrava, but he's condemned like urine. And anyway, in the purport, we won't read the whole. Well, I'll read the first sentence or two here. It is said that a sun and urine emanate from the same source, the genitals. When a son is a devotee or a great learned person, the seminal discharge for begetting a son is successful, but if the son is unqualified, he's no better than urine. So Ravana was like that, compared to urine. Yes, so therefore even Varuna wanted that Ravana be killed. So, okay, let us read on. I mean, it does, the question or the point of, this version, which is in some versions of Valmiki Ramayana, but not all by any means, that Lord Ram prayed to Lord Shiva and therefore got some, whatever, benediction or some blessing or something, and therefore was able to cross the ocean. It's not in this description, and it's not in a number of the descriptions of some of the versions of Valmiki Ramayana. So let us read on. Shukadev Goswami said, after constructing a bridge over the ocean by throwing into the water the peaks of mountains whose trees and other vegetation had been shaken by the hands of great monkeys, Lord Ramachandra went to Lanka to release Sita Devi from the clutches of Ravana. With the direction and help of Vibhishana, Ravana's brother, the Lord, along with the monkey soldiers headed by Sugriva, Nila, and Hanuman, entered Ravana's kingdom, Lanka, which had previously been burnt by Hanuman. You know that story, right? Hanuman was captured. He came to find out, is Sita really there? They say she's there, but we want to make sure. So he was able to jump across, and sure enough, he found Sita's there. Because, well, Lord Ram, after Mother Sita had been kidnapped, Lord Ram, apparently like a regular person, apparently like such a person, he became upset. In fact, he became extremely upset. And the lamentation of Lord Ram in Valmiki Ramayana, it fills 5 chapters. 5 chapters, just on and on and on and on and on, expressing grief and the determination to destroy the person responsible like that. So yes, at least he was conducting himself in that way. And then, who should come but Hanuman? Hanuman has not figured in the story so far, but now he comes, and he's a devotee, and he sees how disturbed Lord Ram is, and he wants to help. But he can't speak to Lord Ram because Lord Ram is just lamenting too much. So he asks Lakshman, the brother, the most senior of the brothers, me and my friends, we know the area. We will find Sita. But there's one problem. We haven't seen her. We don't know what she looks like. And so Hanuman asked Lakshman, just tell me what she looks like. Please describe her to me. And Lakshman said, I don't know what she looks like. And Hanuman was taken aback. She's your sister-in-law. You've been together for years, and you've been on this exile for a number of years, 24/7, because he did not sleep. For all the years of the exile, he didn't sleep. Rather, his wife, Urmila, she slept for him. So he didn't start dozing off, as sometimes devotees do in lectures. And sometimes people do at work because at least work is boring. Yes, so to avoid that, she slept for him. So he was alert, completely, 24/7 for all those years of the exile. And he had been with Ram and Sita 24/7 for all those years. But here he is saying, I don't know what she looks like. And Hanuman said, look, please, I'm trying to help. Tell me what she looks like. And Lakshman said, I don't know what she looks like. And Hanuman got angry with him. You tell me, stop this. And Lakshman became a little mildly heated and said, I don't know what she looks like because I have never looked above her feet. And then he gave very beautiful description of her lotus feet, including the markings under her lotus feet. So anyway, then it's a bit of a long story, but Hanuman jumped over and he found her in the Ashok Grove, and he presented, a lot of emphasis is put on the fact that he had the ring of Ram, which only Ram had. Nobody had a ring like that at all. And now Hanuman presented it. Look, I am here on behalf of Ram. See? And by her response, he understood it is Sita. But more importantly, he looked at her feet and at the soles, the underneath of her feet. And he saw these are the same lotus feet with the same markings. Because people like Sita, like Ram, like Krishna, like Radharani, Lord Caitanya, and so on, they don't have the ordinary, like we have, the sort of the swirls and whatever they are, kind of meaningless on the bottoms of their feet. So that was the main thing. Then he understood this is Sita. Otherwise it could have been one of the Rakshasis trying to fool him. But then he allowed himself to be caught, because if you remember with Hanuman, I guess we'll talk about it in a few days on Hanuman Jayanti, that Hanuman was given, he swallowed the sun and he wouldn't give it back. And all the demigods came and offered blessings. But, like Vayu, the Lord of the winds, you'll be able to move as fast as me. Just give us the sun back? No. So then Agni blessed him. You will, because he's the Lord, demigod of fire. You will not be burnt by fire. Even if you're in the middle of a blazing fire, won't affect you. So therefore he let his tail be set alight, although it did no harm whatsoever. And then he flew around Lanka, setting so many buildings and things on fire. Yes, right, so on we go. Let's see. When Ravana, the master of the Rakshasas, saw the disturbances created by the monkey soldiers, he called for Nikumba, Kumbha, Dumraksha, Durmukha. Durmukha. You understand that? Durmukha. Dur like Durban. Durban means very distant and unpleasant forest. So Durmukha means very horrible face. Durmukha, Surantaka, Narantaka, and other Rakshasas. And Rakshasa means cannibal. And also his son Indrajit, who was called Indrajit because Jit, he defeated Indra in battle. Thereafter he called for Prahasta, Atikaya, Vikampana, and finally Kumbhakarna. Then he induced all his followers to fight against the enemies, means against Lord Ram and his army. So, let's see. Angada and the other commanders of the soldiers of Ramachandra faced the elephants, infantry, horses, and chariots of the enemy and hurled against them big trees, mountain peaks, clubs, and arrows. Thus the soldiers of Lord Ramachandra killed Ravana's soldiers, who had lost all good fortune because Ravana had been condemned by the anger of Mother Sita. And this is it's a very practical point and very important point, actually, for all of us and for everyone, that if you sort of take shelter of someone, you become like a dependent, you could say, of someone else, including just in ordinary material terms, if you just become financially dependent like that. Then you become implicated in whatever karma that person you have taken shelter of, who's looking after you, you also take some of that person's karma. And if that person's karma is good, like Lord Ram, of course he doesn't really have karma as ordinary materialistic people do, but certainly he's just all good. And so if we become devotees of Lord Ram, we get great benefit due to our connection with him. But now these soldiers had taken shelter of, they'd become dependents, and they were fighting on behalf of Ravana, who was so terrible, his karma, it's incalculable how bad it was. So as the verse says, the soldiers of Lord Ramachandra killed Ravana's soldiers who had lost all good fortune because Ravana had been condemned by the anger of Mother Sita. Of course, when Ravana kidnapped Mother Sita was extremely unhappy. And, you can imagine she may be cursing him and just, some real terrible feelings towards him. You taking me away from my beloved Lord, husband. Whew, it's just such a disaster. Mother Sita was deeply disturbed. And therefore, Ravana, he became affected by that. She is also extremely pious person, to say the least. And so if she feels disturbed by someone, that person, bad fortune will come to that person in due course. And so these soldiers of Ravana, because Ravana, not the soldiers, they're just ordinary fellows, but they became condemned to die early before their normal lifespan would have finished. They became condemned like that because the person who they were depending on, he was condemned, he was cursed by Mother Sita. This is the power of Mother Sita. She was responsible, and the point is made as we go on a little further. Another time, the point is made that because Ravana was cursed and just disliked intensely by Mother Sita, then Ravana himself died untimely, not when it would have been expected if you looked at his lifeline. Interesting. Okay. Yes, so it's very important who you take shelter of. That's why we all take shelter of Srila Prabhupada. And we all take shelter of real followers, serious followers, who are deeply, 100% committed to Srila Prabhupada. Because then we will share in that nectar which is there. So here we go, a little further on. So now Ravana is going to attack Lord Ram. Thereafter, when Ravana, the king of the Rakshasas, observed that his soldiers had been lost, he was extremely angry. Thus he mounted his airplane, which was decorated with flowers, and proceeded toward Lord Ramachandra, who sat on the effulgent chariot brought by Matali, the chariot driver of Indra. Then Ravana struck Lord Ramachandra with sharp arrows. And listen to this, everyone. Are you all awake? Are you all still alive? Anyone not alive still? Not awake? Listen to this. This is now, next verse, it's verse 22. Lord Ram speaks to Ravana. And boy, I tell you, he gives him, as we say, he gives him the sauce, or the hot chili sauce. Some of Mother Maitili's. Is she around? You know Mother Maitili? Rukmini's mother? I tell you what, she makes some pretty hot sauces. So the hot Maitili chili sauce. So Lord Ram says to Ravana, you are the most abominable of the man-eaters. Indeed, you are like their stool. You know, it's bad enough to be a cannibal, but to be like the stool, the feces of a cannibal, it's off the scale. You resemble a dog, for as a dog steals eatables from the kitchen in the absence of the householder, in my absence you kidnap my wife, Sita Devi. Therefore, as Yamaraj punishes sinful men, I shall also punish you. You are most abominable, sinful, and shameless. Today, therefore, I, whose attempt never fails, shall punish you. Because Ravana is the leader of the cannibals. In fact, he had given Sita 1 month to agree to, accept him, sort of like a husband, so to speak. But of course, Sita would not do that. She really wouldn't do that. So just right at the end, on the last day of the month, Ravana told her, you accept me today. If you don't, tomorrow I will eat you for breakfast. And he meant it. He was actually going to do that. So, after thus rebuking Ravana, Lord Ramachandra fixed an arrow to his bow, aimed at Ravana and released the arrow, which pierced Ravana's heart like a thunderbolt. Upon seeing this, Ravana's followers raised a tumultuous sound, crying, "Alas, alas, what has happened? What has happened?" As Ravana, vomiting blood from his 10 mouths, fell from his airplane, just as a pious man falls to the earth from the heavenly planets when the results of his pious activities are exhausted. You know, one interesting point, which is there in Valmiki Ramayana, but which was brought to my attention, interestingly enough, by His Holiness Sachinandan Swami. Once we were at Radha Kund, and somehow this point came up, that Lord Ram, here of course, the description is what? He fired an arrow which pierced Ravana's heart like a thunderbolt. But you're probably aware, I think it's well known, that before that, Lord Ram was repeatedly firing arrows at the 10 heads of Ravana. And each time he was hitting a head, and the head would just get knocked off by the impact, but then another head would pop up. And just again and again and again and again and again. It was just going on like that. The thing was that Ravana, of course he had all these women. He had kidnapped, I don't know how many, but it may be thousands of women. You know, like beautiful women. That was his thing, women. So he had kidnapped thousands of them, but of them all, Sita was the most recent one, but Sita was just the most beautiful of them all. So Ravana, in his lusty, materialistic way, he was already very attached to Mother Sita. That was why the night before, when Lord Ram told him, look, just give me Sita back and we'll stop the battle. You keep Lanka, you keep your kingdom. I'll bring back to life all your followers and all your people who have died, been killed in the battle. I'll bring them all back to life. And I'll make them forget that we were enemies. And I'll make them think we have always been friends. Just give me Sita back, that's all. That's all. And Ravana said no, because he was too attached to Sita. So when a person is attached to maybe typically or more often than not, to a member of the opposite sex, then it's sometimes taken that that person is in his heart, in the heart, like the organ or that area. At least, you know, that's a very common idea. Give your heart to a person. Oh, thank you. Nice looking heart. So, Ravana, so Sita was in Ravana's heart. But the thing is that Sita and Ram and Krishna and, you know, all these great, great transcendental personalities, you think of them and they're there with you. So Ravana was thinking of Sita within his heart, means she was there. Therefore, Lord Ram would not fire at his heart would only fire at his heads. But as this was all going on, head after head after head, and, pretty dramatic situation, Ravana, because he's in material consciousness, his attachment to Sita was not unlimited. After a while, he became so angry and disturbed with all of this, all these arrows and all his heads. He just became so angry, he forgot about Sita momentarily. And then Lord Ram took that special arrow. He had not used it yet, the Brahmastra, the weapon of Lord Brahma. And he just immediately took it and fired it at the heart of Ravana. And as the verse described, that was the end of Ravana. So then, devotees come, so that's the end of Ravana. Now the ladies come out from the palace or palaces or residences. The ladies whose husbands were part of Ravana's army, but they'd been killed, and including Mandodari, the chief wife of Ravana himself. So they all came out and approached the dead bodies of Ravana and the other Rakshasas, striking their breasts in affliction because their husbands had been killed by the arrows of Lakshman. The women embraced their respective husbands and cried piteously in voices appealing to everyone. And this is now Mandodari speaking to the dead body of Ravan. O my Lord, O Master, you epitomize trouble for others, and therefore you were called Ravana. But now that you have been defeated, we also are defeated. For without you, the state of Lanka has been conquered by the enemy. To whom will it go for shelter? And let me just read Prabhupada's 3-sentence purport, very short. Ravana's wife, Mandodari, and the other wives knew very well how cruel a person Ravana was. The very word Ravana means one who causes crying for others. Ravana continuously caused trouble for others, and when his sinful activities culminated in giving trouble to Sita Devi, he was killed by Lord Ramachandra. Yes. O greatly, and this is her, Mandodari, continuing. O greatly fortunate one, you came under the influence of lusty desires, and therefore you could not understand the influence of Mother Sita. Now, because of her curse, you have been reduced to this state, having been killed by Lord Ramachandra. And in the purport, which we won't read, Prabhupada talks about the power of a chaste lady. She was the cause of death of Ravana, but she never took a weapon or anything like that. Okay, last little verse I'll read, and this is really powerful. O pleasure of the Rakshasa dynasty, because of you the state of Lanka, and also we ourselves, now have no protector. By your deeds, you've made your body fit to be eaten by vultures, and your soul fit to go to hell. She's his wife, but she understands the situation very clearly. She was very, very pious lady. When they're is a list of the chaste ladies of in the history of the universe. Sita is there, her name is there. Means a list of like 10 or 12. But Mandodari is also there. She was so chaste to Ravana, but not that she didn't know what this person is. So therefore, that's what happens to people who try to oppose the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It may not happen immediately. He'd been harassing people for years and decades and probably centuries. And it didn't happen. It didn't catch up with him immediately, but it caught up with him. Yes. So we have to really stick at the lotus feet of Lord Ram. We have to stick at the lotus feet of Mother Sita. And we have to stick at the lotus feet of those who are really fixed at their lotus feet. That is just sort of the end of the story, or the bottom line, as they say in slang sometimes, but that's what it is. We just got to do that. And even though sometimes it may be a little challenging, because Lord Ram, like we said, he's very pious, upstanding, and demanding this of his followers. Yes, so sometimes to maintain those standards ourselves, like, for example, very typical example, to maintain the 4 regulative principles that we maintain. And of course there are those are the 4 main principles of piety. But there are many others which are secondary principles of piety. So to maintain just those 4 regulative principles, no meat, fish or eggs, or onions or garlic, no intoxication, not even tea or coffee, not even, I understand, Coca-Cola. Fortunately for me, I never liked Coca-Cola. And no gambling and no illicit sex life. We must maintain these standards to please Lord Ram. And we must also glorify him, chant his names. And as Srila Prabhupada explained on Sunday, was it? I think it was on Sunday. On Monday. On Monday, sorry. There was this video being played of Prabhupada talking about how Krishna, Ram, they're the same, don't worry about it. Like Lord Ram appeared on this planet before Lord Krishna did. Don't let it become an issue for you. It's not an issue. It's just, it doesn't matter, it's irrelevant. Yes, we must take them into our hearts. Lord Krishna, Lord Ram. We must do like that. And really become their devotees, take shelter of their devotees, those who are their real devotees. And then our lives will become so just overwhelmingly fortunate and wonderful. And at the end of this life, this very life, we can return to the kingdom of God. And if you're really a Ram Bhakta, you may go to Ayodhya, up there, in the spiritual world. Otherwise, maybe you can go to Goloka Vrindavan to be with Krishna, Lord Caitanya. Hare Krishna. Hare Rama. Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ke. Shri Ram Naumi Mahotsava Ke. Srila Prabhupada Ke. Gaur Premanande. So thank you for coming. Now we'll have Hare Krishna. Now we'll have Kirtan as the Arti continues. Then after the Arti, 1 o'clock or thereabouts, prasadam will be served for everyone down in the tent. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we can all stand up, move the chairs out of the way.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishnaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nittidamine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Viveshesha Shunyavadi Paschachare Shatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hey! Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Ram Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Let me sing that away. Huh? Give me that moment. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, oh Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Sitaram Lakshmana Hanuman, Sitaram Lakshmana Hanuman. Jaya Sitaram Lakshmana Hanuman, Sitaram Lakshmana Hanuman. Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram, Patita Pavana Sitaram. Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram, Patita Pavana Sitaram. Sitaram, Jai Sitaram, Sitaram, Jai Sitaram. Sitaram, Jai Sitaram, Sitaram, Jai Sitaram. Sitaram, 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 Sitaram. Sitaram, 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 Sitaram. Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham. Sitaram, Lakshman Hanuman, Sitaram, Lakshman Hanuman. Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram, Patita Pavana Sitaram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Ramo Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ramo Rama Hare Hare Bolo Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Ramo Hare Hare Jaya Radha Radhanath Radhe Jaya Radhe Sham Jaya Radhe Sham Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Jaya Sita Ram Lakshmana Hanuman Sita Ram Lakshmana Hanuman Jaya Sita Ram Lakshmana Hanuman Sita Ram Lakshmana Hanuman Nittai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Nittai Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribol. Haribol. Oh, Haribol. Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Bolo, 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 bolo. Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribol. One more time. Nitai Gaur Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribol. One more time. Tai Gaur Premanande.
Part of Rajakarya status Shishamad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON Samstapakacharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Sri Guru Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Radha Krishna Govnath Sham Kund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Shri Shri Radha Radhanath Ki Shri Giri Govardhan Ki Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Ki Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ki Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ki Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ki Shri Ram Naumi Mahotsava Ki Shri Ram Naumi Mahotsava Ki Shri Ram Naumi Mahotsava Ki Srila Prabhupada Ki Gaur Premanande. All glories to their Samal devotees. All glories to their Samal devotees. All glories to their Samal devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namaste Narasingaya. Pralada Lada Dayane. Hiranyakashipu Bhaksha. Silatam Kanakalaya. Eton Singa Paraton Singa. Yato Yato Yamitaton Singa. Bahyan Singa Ritain Singa. Narasinghamadem Sharanam Prapadye. Tavakara Kamalavare Nakamadbhuta Sringam Dalita Hiranyakashipo Tanu Bringam Keshavadrita Narahariropa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare. Akesavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Nrsingadev, 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 Jai Nrsingadev. Jai Prahlad Maharaj, Jai Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jai Prahlad Maharaj. Jai Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Shri Nrsingadev Bhagavan ke, Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ke, Shri Prahlad Maharaj ke, Srila Prabhupada ke, Go Premanande, Haribol.
Hare Krishna. Is it on?